it's Chari here today, and I'm going to be showing you how I made this thanks card. It's similar to this hello card that I made for a previous release, where I stacked some die cuts to make the sentiment and then I inlaid those clouds. So I'm going to be showing you how to do both of those techniques on the card today. But I'm going to be using the new Scripty Thanks lawn cut, as well as some of the speech bubbles from the Chit Chat lawn cut set. I'm going to be using this large speech bubble that also comes with the 4x6 stitch journaling cards. And I'm cutting down a piece of off-white cardstock so that it's smaller than a standard size card front and will have a 1/4 inch mat all the way around it when it's mounted on the card front. I've also picked out a couple other colors of the basil cardstock to use on the front of my card. I wanted to make sure I used it all from the same line of cardstock so that the thickness is the same. So I'm going to take that large speech bubble first and just line it up on the front of my card where I want it. I'm starting with this one because it's kind of the main part and everything will build around it. So I'm just going to hold that in place with some post-it note tape so that it doesn't move as I run it through my die cut machine. Now I can use that piece that I cut out for another project, so I'll just put that aside. I want the negative space, so what I did is I cut out a piece of orange with the same die, and it's going to lay right inside that negative space that I made. I'm going to use this thanks that I've already cut out of black cardstock as a guide to line up my other bubbles here, and I'll just hold those in place with some post-it note tape as well. And you'll see that I'm also going to make sure that I hold that orange piece in that hole with some of that tape. And I ran that through my die cut machine, so I'm pulling those pieces out. And then what I did was I cut out those bubbles out of the cardstock that I wanted in those spaces. So I have an aqua colored bubble on the top and then a purple colored bubble on the bottom. And so I'm just going to lay those pieces inside those negative spaces that were created and just hold them in place with that post-it note tape. I have one more bubble that I want to cut here, so I'm going to line that up so that it cuts through the off-white cardstock as well as the purple. And then I'm going to fill this hole with a bubble that I've cut out of some yellow cardstock. So you can see how this is starting to come together here. Now I've cut a piece of white cardstock down to where it's slightly smaller than my off-white piece so that when I adhere all these pieces down, nothing shows from the outside edges. And I've covered it with a lot of adhesive here so that all those pieces will stick down very well. So I've put my off-white piece on there, and then I'm going to start inlaying those pieces that I cut right back in there. This is some pretty simple die cut inlays, so it's easy to keep up with the pieces. If you had a lot of small pieces, you probably have to use some typing paper to hold them all in place. Now I've cut out a whole bunch of thanks with the Scripty Thanks die. I've got 2 blues here, 2 yellows, and 2 purples. So on the other card I did a rainbow, but on this one, since I'm only using 3, I kind of want to stack them together so they're thicker. So I'm going to do the 2 blues together, then the 2 yellows, then the 2 purples, and then a black one on top. And I'm using this matte multi-medium, and I'm just going to spread it around with my finger, and then I'll stack those die cuts on top of each other. You could use any adhesive. I like using this because when it dries it's matte, unlike glossy accents that can be shiny in case some of it gets out the edges. So I'm just going to repeat this process until I have all my pieces stacked on top of each other. It is a good idea to use a liquid adhesive so you can kind of shift the die cut around until you get it lined up right. A dry adhesive, you'd have to kind of line it up straight out the gate pretty well. So now that I have all those die cuts layered up there, I'll just put the black one right on top to finish it off. And this way my sentiment will really stand out on those word bubbles in the background. So I'll set that aside to dry, and I'm going to finish my card base here. So I've cut a piece of white cardstock down to a standard size card base, and I've also cut a piece of the 12 by 12 mermaid line dance papers from the Let's Polka collection down to adhere right to the front of the card. So I'll have a nice striped border all the way around my card front. I'm going to add some detail with these stitching lines in the white gel pen right along the inside of each of these speech bubbles. I think it just kind of defines the edges better and gives it some more interest. And then I'm also going to go around the outside of the card front with an orange gel pen that I have. I have this collection of Signo gel pens in different colors that I really like to use sometimes. So now I'll just adhere that down to the front of the card, and you could pop it up on some foam adhesive, but since that Thanks die is so thick, I'm just going to adhere it flat down to the front of the card. So I've just covered it with a good amount of adhesive, and then I'm just going to line it up right in the center. So now it's time to adhere my little Thanks sentiment, and I'm just going to put some little dots of glue around. You don't have to cover it completely, just enough so it holds on there. And you could use any glue that works for you. And then I'm just going to line it up and give it some good pressure to hold it down and trying not to shift it around. Now I'm taking my clear Wink of Stella glitter pen and just going over the black on top with a coat of glitter to really make it shine. In the other card I did a coat of glossy accents, which you could also do as well, but this is a different way. But either way has a great shine result. So I wanted a little more accents on here, so I'm taking out some of the heart dies from Lawn Fawn, as well as that line of hearts that comes with the 3x4 stitch journaling card. So I'm going to use 3 little sizes of these. So I'll just put those other little tiny hearts to the side. I have a little collection of those since every time I use that die I get 6 little hearts, and I don't always use all 6. But I just didn't actually happen to have any in this pink color cut out already. So I'm using my tweezers to help me adhere these little hearts down, and since the 2 smaller hearts are not in the center of the word bubbles they're in, I also wanted to make sure that I did not adhere that large heart in the center of the word bubble, so there's just kind of some consistency between all the embellishments here. And you could also add some glitter to the hearts, but I think I'm just going to leave it just like this. So that is the finished card. You could also do this with pattern papers, which would be fun too. And you could cover the Thanks with glossy accents. Thanks for watching. Have an amazing day. Bye.